based on the habitual disposition that I know this person by, give them a reference for that job. Let's say I've got another friend who's habitually late for everything. Am I going to write in a job reference sheet that, yes, he's extremely punctual? No, that's my word on the line. And what am I evaluating this person in terms of? Their habitual disposition. Right? When you're going on a date, right, and somebody's bloody well late all the bloody time, are you going to want to hang out with that person a whole lot? Or are you going to want to depend on them? No. Right? We evaluate people in terms of their character, their habitual dispositions all the bloody time. Now, if somebody was early all the bloody time, you know how annoying it is when people show up early all the bloody time. Oh, I've been waiting. Well, you're early. Right? That's kind of annoying. Let's say I've got somebody who has an excessive disposition to telling the truth. Right? And I ask them the question, do these jeans make my ass look big? And I get, yeah, and your hair is too long. You're kind of ugly too. We moderate all of our activities. These are habitual dispositions, and it's the fine skill of saying the right thing to the right person at the right time in the right way. You don't want to overreact, you don't want to underreact, you want to get that action right in that nice little moderate zone. This is what Aristotle calls the golden mean of moderation. Right? Virtue, the mean state, is ruined by extremes of excess and deficiency, which we call vices. Right? So in a nutshell, that's the golden mean of moderation. Now, let's say just one more example. And just let me think of this example here. Let's say, you know, I don't want to do it all the time, I don't want to do it not at all, so somewhere in the middle here. So let's say on the second Tuesday of the third week of every 5th month, I kill somebody. It's not like I'm doing it all the time, right? It's not like I'm failing to do it. It seems fairly moderate, right? Somewhere down the middle, right? Let's say I'm married, and not all the time, but not never, right? I commit adultery, right? What do you think? Fairly moderate? Right? If this golden mean of moderation is supposed to handle most moral situations for Aristotle, right, then what we need to do is evaluate that. And Aristotle's got your answer here on page 25. He states, now not every action or feeling admits of the mean, for the names of some automatically include baseness, for instance, spite, shamelessness, envy among feelings, adultery, theft, murder among actions. For all of these and similar things are called these names because they themselves, not their excesses or deficiencies, are base. Hence, I love people who use the word hence, in doing these things we can never be correct, but must invariably be in error. We cannot do them well or not well by committing adultery, for instance, with the right woman at the right time in the right way. On the contrary, it is true without qualification that to do any of them is in error. He continues here. To think these admit of the mean, therefore, is like thinking that unjust or cowardly or intemperate action also admits of the mean, an excess, and a deficiency. If it did, there would be a mean of excess, a mean of deficiency, an excess of excess, a deficiency of deficiency. On the contrary, just as there is no excess or deficiency of temperance or bravery, since the intermediate condition is sort of extreme, so also there is no mean of these vicious actions either. But whatever way anyone does them, he is in error. For, in general, there is no mean of excess or of deficiency, and no excess or deficiency of a mean. Now, as confusing as all that was, Aristotle is up to something fairly simple here. All right? And if we just look at the few examples that he gives us here, where are they here? For instance, spite, shamelessness, envy among feelings, adultery, theft, murder among actions. Think of shamelessness. Just think about the word. Shamelessness. Lessness. It's already a deficiency of shame. Right? So what Aristotle wants to claim with the names of these particular actions is that some of these vices already have names. Right? So shamelessness is a deficiently shameful person. It's less obvious with the other examples, but right, what he wants to claim is that you can't do something wrong moderately and have that be virtuous. Right? There's no virtuous adultery. Right? There's no virtuous murder. Right? Adultery is already a deficiency in terms of marital fidelity. Right? Murder is already a vice. These things are already vicious. Right? So this is Aristotle's little handling of that. Right? So, to conclude Aristotle here, right, what we find, right, is that we have these habitual dispositions to our emotions resulting in states of character, that is, propensities to act this way or that, and we evaluate them in terms of the golden mean of moderation. The moderate action is the virtue and is good and generally filters through and tends to produce happiness. Right? If somebody's honest, then people will believe them when they speak. Right? If somebody's loyal, then they will have friends that recognize that loyalty. Right? If somebody is a liar, then nobody's going to believe them. If somebody is disloyal, then they're not going to have good friends that honor that loyalty. Right? So, right, what we find is that these virtues have material outcomes to them. Right? And if we develop them, our lives go a little bit better. Now, if we recall the intellectual virtue, of prudence, or practical wisdom, is important here for Aristotle. Right? Prudence or practical wisdom, right, is going to be that by which we